All right, we're here at the last video of the day. We're going to talk a bit about kind of what's going on in the election, all the problems with voting. Well, probably not all the problems, but some of the problems that are happening with voting. Up first from Breitbart, Trump, they play games in Philadelphia. Watch the voting very closely. President Donald Trump expressed suspicion of Democrat voting tactics in Philadelphia on Friday, urging his supporters to watch closely for any fraud. You got to be very careful in Philadelphia. They play games in Philadelphia, and they won't let us watch the count in Philadelphia, Trump said at a campaign rally in Pensacola, Florida. The president was likely referring to his campaign efforts to have poll watchers at the satellite election offices in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. On October 9th, a Philadelphia judge ruled against a campaign lawsuit to allow poll watchers at the satellite offices where voters can drop off ballots. Pennsylvania Attorney General Josh Shapiro also warned that Trump campaign on Thursday that after they videotaped Philadelphia voters depositing their ballots in drop boxes to watch for voter fraud. Shapiro argued that the tactics could amount to voter intimidation. Trump referred to past elections in Philadelphia where Republicans got either very few or no votes at all. In 2012, Mitt Romney got 0 votes in 59 voting divisions in Philadelphia. Wait, what? 0 votes? Come on, he didn't even get 1? That's So we're watching Philadelphia because I don't like what I'm hearing about Philadelphia, Trump said. Of the 1.3 million mail-in and early in-person ballots returned, Democrats had Republicans with 71%. Republicans only have 20%, while 9% is other. So, Republicans go to vote in person. Democrats are going to vote by mail. So that's why you see the early lead for Biden right now. Now we got from the Daily Mail. When you send in your ballot, you cannot have security like this. Donald Trump cast his perfect ballot in person in his new home state of Florida, joining the more than 52 million Americans who have already voted. President Donald Trump, who has railed against mail-in voting, cast his ballot in person on Saturday near his Florida home. The president voted for himself at the Palm Beach County Main Library Saturday morning, telling reporters it was a very secure vote and warning that when you send in your ballot, you cannot have security like this. First Lady Melania was notably absent from the trip, and it is not clear when she will cast her vote. Whatever. The president joins the more than 52 million Americans who have already voted, according to the Elections Project, which tracks early voting data. Trump also became the first presidential candidate to cast a ballot for himself. The Biden campaign hasn't said when or how Joe and Jill Biden will vote. The couple is registered in Delaware, which allows any registered voter to request a mail-in ballot. The state does not allow early in-person voting. He became the first presidential candidate to cast a ballot for himself. Who are the other people casting a ballot then that were presidential candidates? Were they casting it for the opponent? Were they casting it for just some random Joe? Not some random Joe Biden, but some random Randy. Nor has Vice President Mike Pence and Second Lady Karen Pence voted in Indianapolis on Friday, dropping their absentee ballots. Blah blah blah. Trump's motorcade departed Mar-a-Lago. Blah blah. Okay, whatever. The rest is just nonsense and just fluff to try to get this crap longer. So we got from Huffington Post, Joe Biden trolls Donald Trump with spoof COVID-19 plan website. Did he troll Donald Trump? It's not really a troll because it's not really a troll. I don't think he really knows what anyways. Joe Biden has finally found President Donald Trump's plan to beat the coronavirus pandemic. A tweet from the Democratic nominee declared on Friday says, after 8 months of this pandemic, we finally found President Trump's plan to beat COVID-19. And if you click on it, it goes to, and it gets an error message that says not found, it reads. Then comes the zing. The Trump plan to defeat the coronavirus and reopen safely does not exist. So this is obviously a fake website. And this seems, for some reason, this just feels very, very wrong that Biden would send this out because, like this is clearly lying. Because it's just like, come on, can you really believe this? Like, if you go to it, it's not found the Trump plan to defeat the coronavirus. Do you really think Trump would make a website for his COVID plan? No, this is some random person that you then found that Biden, and you're trying to then make Trump look bad by lying. Because that's all you do. You just lie with your Russia? Russia? Russia! We got Gateway Pundit, shock video, Detroit election workers trained to kick out poll watchers and count challenged ballots and throw out provisional ballots. A hidden audio has emerged from an anonymous source who took the election work training classes in Detroit, Michigan, and you won't believe what the trainers are instructing the poll workers to do. The audio, posted in a video on YouTube, reveals that election workers are trained to try to kick out poll watchers and anyone who challenges any ballot. They have to wear a mask and they have to stay 6 feet. That's important because if you don't have 6 feet, they can't come back there. Advises the instructor, who then goes on to say that a person standing 6 feet away from the ballots cannot accurately see what is going on and can't verify any signatures, unless they got really good vision or they brought their binoculars. Trainees are told that the number one thing people will scrutinize are the absentee ballots. The solution to someone challenging an absentee ballot? Just call 911 on anyone who's pestering the poll workers. If they make a scene, get them up out of there. Call the police on them. The producers of the video then cut away to the text of Michigan Compiled Laws 168.733, which specifically states that the Board of Election Inspectors shall provide space for the challengers within the polling place that enables the challengers to observe the election procedure and each person applying to vote. Section 4 of the law specifies a person shall not threaten or intimidate a challenger while performing an activity allowed under subsection. The training session then goes on to explain what a worker should do with a challenged ballot. The instructor advises to put the ballot in the tabulator, which is the machine that actually counts the votes, and run it as if it were not challenged, and the vote will be counted by default. The video explains that this renders the challenged ballot unchallenged because once it goes into the machine, it becomes anonymous and cannot be traced or tracked. Michiganders can register to vote through Election Day, so technically someone can vote early or by mail in a nearby state, then travel to Michigan on the day of the election, register, and vote there. Would they ever get caught? Not likely. But these newly registered voters are supposed to bring special papers, and some papers state that their ballots are supposed to go right into the challenge queue. Other papers say treat the ballot like a regular one. The video then goes on to explain that anyone can access the master list of voters in Michigan, which provides names, addresses, and precinct information for every voter. Pretty much anyone could show up claiming to be someone they are not and give a name that matches one that is one on the list. Evidently, there are some kind of laptops that are being issued to high schoolers who are serving in electronic poll book inspector capacities, and they are getting paid hundreds of dollars. The next part is a bit disturbing, as anyone who has had their absentee ballot stolen or had one issued to a fraudulent person will not be able to vote. In fairness, this also means that people cannot double vote, but they intended to do that. But if they intended to do that, then they could just as easily use someone else's name. The trainer then says if the person swears they did not vote absentee, to issue that person a provisional ballot, which goes into a special envelope that eventually just gets thrown out. So the person thinks they are casting their vote when really it just goes into the garbage. And we've seen plenty of ballots just being dumped into garbage cans. So even scarier is that these are teenagers working behind the scenes. Any of them can run any ballot they want through the tabulator or toss them into the provisional stack to be thrown away, and the voter will be none the wiser. The video closes out by offering instructions how to become a ballot watcher. So this election is just going to be a huge farce. We all know it. It's trash. Now we got then furious liberals demand CNN fire Obama advisor Van Jones for saying Trump doesn't get credit for the good things he has done for the black community. So yeah, they're trying to call now for him to be fired because you literally can't say anything good about Trump on CNN. You literally can't. You can't even say anything about Hunter Biden's emails on CNN. Believe me, I've been looking for them. They don't show up. But yet Trump shows up every other article. There is one about him and trying to bash him. And CNN is just god awful. It is garbage at this point. It's become a tabloid magazine and it uses clickbait. Van Jones, the former Obama administration official and current CNN commentator, said on Friday that President Trump doesn't get credit for the good things he has done for African Americans, prompting Twitter users to call for his firing. And I guarantee you most of those people that are calling for his firing aren't black. Just a hint, they're probably probably not black. Jones made the comment while providing on-air analysis during Jake Tapper's daily CNN broadcast on Friday. Tapper began the segment by panning Trump's comment during Thursday's debate, in which the president said he had done more for black Americans than any of his predecessors aside from Abraham Lincoln. The CNN host, who mentioned Lyndon Johnson's signing into law the Civil Rights Act in 1964 as an example of a president who did more for African Americans than Trump, then played a clip from the debate. In the footage, Trump says he is the least racist person in this room. 8 in 10 black Americans believe that Trump is a racist, according to a Washington Post. It's his poll, or at least Washington Post poll is crap. 8 in 10, my butt. Why does the president make comments like that instead of acknowledging that he has said things that seem insensitive, but he wants to work on it? Jones responded that it wasn't in the president's character to admit to wrongdoing. He then pivoted to praise Trump for doing good things for the black community. I think it's really unfortunate because Donald Trump, and I get beat up by liberals every time I say it, but I keep saying it, he has done good stuff for the black community, Jones said. Black college stuff, I worked with him on criminal stuff. I saw Donald Trump have African-American people formerly incarcerated in the White House, embraced them, treated them well. There is a side to Donald Trump that I think he does not get enough credit for. But Jones then said that Trump's actions made it harder for the public to give him credit. Yeah, I mean, I guess his brash and bold behavior is kind of what deters a lot of people. But then it's also the media that just won't shut up on bashing him. It's just boom, boom, boom. Specifically, CNN. But the reason he doesn't is because he also says the most incendiary stuff. He retweets white nationalists. No, he doesn't. In other words, I'm not friends with people who are friends of my enemies, and so the black community can appreciate some of the stuff he's done, but when they see him playing footsie on Twitter with these white nationalist organizations, it just wipes it all out. He's not. Just because you guys say that like stuff like Proud Boys and stuff like that are all these white nationalists, and anyone that doesn't agree with me is racist and a Nazi and a white nationalist. It's like you guys project way too hard. Way too hard. That you can't even have some form of consistency, because if a black man even tries to say, oh, you guys should maybe give him a little bit of credit because he is trying, but I will say that he is brash and rude, and then you're just like, fire him immediately. You guys are crazy. That one hurt my voice a little, so I need to take a drink. So we'll come up to the last story here. We have Chelsea Handler looking like a complete fool. She says, I had to remind him that he was a black person. Chelsea Handler explains why she called out 50 Cent for endorsing Trump over Biden's supposed tax hikes for the rich. I mean, it's a pretty good reason why you should support Trump. Why would you want to pay more in taxes? Why would 50 Cent want to become 20 Cent? Chelsea Handler said she was compelled to scold her ex-boyfriend 50 Cent to remind him that he's a black person, so he can't vote for Trump. Just remember that. And said she'd go for another spin if the rapper publicly denounces the president. I'm pretty sure you're trying to bribe 50 Cent with sex. I'm pretty sure what you just said might be illegal, actually, because you're whoring yourself out for gain. It says earlier in the week, the comedian made headlines for taking a rapper to task on Twitter after he endorsed Trump for re-election over word of a 62% tax that Joe Biden supposedly wants to put on people making over $400,000 in New York City. Hey, effer, I will pay your taxes in exchange for you coming to your senses. Happily, Black Lives Matter. That's you, effer. Remember? Handler tweeted to 50 Cent on Wednesday. I'm pretty sure black people can also, denounce Black Lives Matter. I mean, we've seen some harsh, real bad problems, and Antifa literally infecting Black Lives Matter, and it's just become basically another branch of the, I guess, unorganized army of the left, of the far left. Says on Friday, Handler explained why she lashed out at her ex-boyfriend 50 Cent, who she had dated in 2010, according to reports. So he doesn't want to pay 62% in taxes because he doesn't want to go from 50 cent to 20 cent. And I had to remind him that he was a black person, so he can't vote for Donald Trump, and that he shouldn't be influencing an entire swath of people who may listen to him because he's worried about his own personal pocketbook, Handler told Jimmy Fallon during her Tonight Show interview. Wow, Chelsea, if you were already pretty like a kind of crappy person to begin with, but boy, this makes you look awful. Just awful. Anyways, I'll leave it there. This election's going to be a farce, so I'll say just go out and vote. Try your best. People, just that's all I got to say. You have a good one. I will see you then tomorrow with some more news. Bye-bye.